Captain Zara of the Zerathian cruiser, Valiant Hope, stared in mounting horror at the sensor readouts. The hyperdrive was a twisted mass of sparking metal, spitting out erratic energy bursts. They were stranded, light years from any known Zerathian outpost, surrounded by the cold emptiness of uncharted space. Her crew, the best and brightest of their kind, was gripped by rising panic. On any other day, Zara would project the unwavering confidence her people expected of a leader. But today, fear gnawed at her. She knew their distress signal would likely go unanswered in this remote sector. Their supplies were dwindling. Every hour brought them closer to a slow, agonizing death aboard their crippled ship. Then, like a flickering star in the abyss, a signal pierced the silence. It wasn't Zerathian, but its simplicity made it universally understandable, a response to her SOS. The source, a small, primitive world a few light-years away. Humans, if her galactic database was correct, barely spacefaring, technologically basic, but close. Desperation outweighed caution. Zara set a course, clinging to a desperate hope that perhaps, just perhaps, even these primitive beings might be their salvation. As the Valiant Hope descended into the strange blue world's atmosphere, Zara fought back a wave of doubt. What could these humans possibly offer them? Their sensors indicated simple dwellings, crude energy systems, a civilization centuries behind Zerathian technology. Yet, the SOS beacon had been a beacon of hope in the darkness. Their landing site was a vast, open clearing, marked with surprisingly ordered arrangements of lights, crude but clearly intentional. A crowd was gathered, fearsome creatures, Zara thought at first. Bipedal, strangely proportioned, wrapped not in protective exoskeletons but what seemed like soft coverings. Then, one stepped forward, raising an appendage in a gesture that transcended species, an open palm. The initial communication was an exercise in frustration. Concepts like hyperdrive and energy matrix were meaningless to this species. But one word bridged the gap: broken. Zara found herself pointing at the crippled engine, mimicking the sounds of its sputtering demise. The humans, surprisingly, seemed to grasp the concept. For days that turned into a week, nothing seemed to happen. The Zerathians were confined to their ship, their supplies dwindling further. Zara struggled to maintain hope amongst her demoralized crew. Had they been lured into a primitive trap? Then, from the settlement, emerged a procession of humans, not with weapons, but with crude carts piled with parts. Metal strips, wires, oddly shaped containers. The head engineer, a brilliant but rigid Zerathian named Zera, scoffed. Their offerings are scrap. Our technology is millennia beyond anything they could possibly comprehend. Zara, a creeping desperation fueling her intuition, overruled him. Let them try. What happened next defied every principle of Zerathian astrophysics. The humans, with their stubby fingers and bafflingly simple tools, began dismantling sections of the hyperdrive. Not to repair it, Zara realized with a jolt, but to strip it bare. Hours turned into sleepless days as the humans, driven by some inscrutable determination, labored alongside the Zerathian engineers. They attached their crude metal scraps to the exposed energy matrix, rerouted wires into baffling configurations, and even poured strange liquids into components that should have sparked and sputtered in protest. Commander Zera was apoplectic. "This is madness. They're desecrating our technology." He fumed at Zara, demanding she put an end to it. But Zara hesitated. A primal instinct was warring with her ingrained logic. Yes, this was unconventional, even insane. But in the flicker of the human's eyes, she saw something familiar. The same defiance she'd witnessed as her crew confronted the void. Finally, The humans stepped back. A silence fell so thick Zara could hear her own pulse throbbing. A human, clearly their leader, gestured toward the engine core. With a tremor in her voice, Zara gave the command to initiate the startup sequence. The first sputter of the engine was nothing short of miraculous. The next pulse was stronger, then another. Impossible energy readings flickered across the screens. The patched and jury-rigged hyperdrive roared to life, bathed in a strange, pulsating energy unlike anything the Zerathians had ever witnessed. It wasn't elegant, it wouldn't last long, but it would get them home. As the valiant Hope shot back into the stars, Zara looked out at the blue speck of Earth receding into the distance. The humans hadn't fixed their hyperdrive with superior knowledge. They'd saved her ship with relentless determination, with a willingness to tinker, to defy logic, to do the absolutely unthinkable until something worked. In that moment, Captain Zara reached a profound understanding. It wasn't just technology that defined a species. It was the audacity to reach for the impossible, and the unyielding spirit that refused to accept defeat. And by that measure, the humans of Earth were far from primitive. The valiant Hope soared through the cosmos, a testament to both Zerathian ingenuity and the audacious spirit of the humans far below. Captain Zara sat in her command chair, the echoes of that strange, pulsating energy humming in the ship's core. She contemplated how she would report this to the Zerathian High Council. It went beyond a mere rescue, beyond a fascinating case study of an alien species. The encounter on Earth had shattered long-held beliefs. The Zerathians had always prided themselves on their technological prowess, on order and calculated brilliance. Now, they'd been saved by beings who valued improvisation, tenacity, and what could only be described as a reckless brilliance. It was unsettling, and yet it was undeniably effective. A tremor of unease ran through Zara. Would the Council grasp what truly happened on Earth? Could the Zerathians acknowledge that their disciplined approach had its limitations? Or would they dismiss this as a fluke, a strange anomaly in an otherwise orderly galaxy? Would they learn from the humans, or be consumed by the same pride that had nearly doomed her own crew? Zara composed herself. She wouldn't just transmit a dry report. She would argue her case passionately. Cooperation with these audacious humans might be unconventional. It might even seem risky. But the potential was boundless. Perhaps the most advanced technology in the galaxy lay not in sleek warships or meticulously calculated designs, but in the heart of a species willing to embrace the impossible. Zara smiled grimly. She was returning home not just with a repaired ship, but with the seeds of a potential revolution, one that could shake the Zerathian Empire and the galaxy to its very foundations. Upon her return to the Zerathian heartland, Captain Zara faced a skeptical High Council. The news of humanity's unorthodox repair was met with a mixture of astonishment, disbelief, and thinly veiled derision. As she recounted the details, the whispers from her fellow Zerathians were cutting. Primitive tinkering, a fluke, a threat to the natural order. Zara felt her resolve harden. She would not allow the humans' ingenuity to be dismissed so easily. She spoke of their relentless spirit, their willingness to experiment, to challenge convention. The council grumbled. Progress was achieved through order, discipline, not by haphazardly throwing scrap metal at a problem until it worked. Undeterred, Zara issued a daring challenge. "Let us conduct an experiment," she proposed. "Take a group of our brightest engineers, task them with deliberately crippling a hyperdrive. Then, split them into 2 teams. Let one team approach the problem as we always have, with methodical precision. The other," here she paused for effect, "will be made to operate under human conditions. Limited resources, impossible deadlines, the need to improvise." The High Council grudgingly agreed, more out of amusement than genuine belief. Weeks turned into months. The traditional Zerathian team labored tirelessly, but their solutions were predictable, textbook. The other team, initially scoffed at, began to display a strange, unsettling energy. Their work area was a whirlwind of chaotic experimentation, filled with failed attempts, discarded components, and fierce arguments. Then, one day, Zara was summoned back to the council. The traditional team presented their solution, elegant, meticulous, and utterly ineffective. The second team, dishevelled and weary, reluctantly activated their own creation. The crippled hyperdrive sputtered, roared, sputtered again, and then stabilized with a ragged pulse. It worked. A profound silence fell over the High Council. Had logic itself failed? In its place bloomed a terrifying realization. The humans, with their chaotic brilliance, offered an undeniable advantage that the Zerathians could not ignore. Zara seized her moment. Cooperation with Earth, she argued, wasn't just beneficial, it was vital. The Zerathians could provide structure, resources, expanding the humans' reach. In return, they would gain access to a boundless well of adaptability that could propel their civilization to new heights. The transition was not easy. Pride and prejudice fought a fierce rearguard action. But over time, joint research facilities emerged. Human engineers perplexed Zerathians with their outlandish solutions. And Zerathian scientists, to their surprise, began to think in ways previously impossible. The galaxy watched as these two vastly different species forged an unlikely alliance that tilted the balance of power. Zara, now an admiral, witnessed it all with a mix of satisfaction and awe. She'd returned from Earth with far more than a working hyperdrive. She'd brought back a change that echoed through the stars, a testament to a simple truth. Sometimes progress lies not in rigid perfection, but in the audacity to color outside the lines, in embracing the glorious, unpredictable messiness that the humans called ingenuity.